Sorry, we're closed.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry we're closed. Hashtag on Twitter, on TikTok, almost at 1 million views. Probably hit 1 million today. That's pretty solid. Pretty solid.
There you are.
Yeah, right? Pretty solid. Anyway, question of the day. Question of the day. And I've classified this for Sean today as the cross between the Sorry We're Closed podcast by the Light Brothers here and Tony Robbins.
Okay.
It's a cross between the two. And the question is, would you rather have $1 billion today? There's a genie comes around, gives you $1 billion. Today.
It's
In
a
your
good
bank
start.
account immediately. You say $1 billion is my choice, billions in your account.
It's hard to beat that.
Or, and here's the Tony Robbins part, be the most content human being who has ever lived. Now, theoretically speaking, a lot of people choose the billion thinking it's going to make them happier people. They have less to worry about. They can do a lot of really cool things, be very happy.
This is one of those things where it's like, I understand, like, conceptually that the better answer is to be more content.
Of course.
Like, and the correct answer is to be more content. Okay. Because the reason you get the $1 billion is to solve a lack of content.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So the solution to your problem is to be content, right? But the problem and the trouble that most people will face is the fact that, like, who they are and who they've become has been driven to chase being content and happy by way of financial means. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say it genuinely is a tough one. I think
most of these are, otherwise we wouldn't pose them.
I'm going to say there's enough wiggle room in being the most content human being in the world to choose that one. Who's ever lived to choose that one. That's what I'm going to say.
So I am going to go the opposite direction.
Weird.
I'm going to choose $1 billion because although being the most content human being ever, that's when you say the most ever, like you're max content.
You can still get $1 billion and be content.
Yeah, there's nothing stopping you. And you can still be very content with the billion, and you're just not the most who has ever lived. Could you be second most? Yeah. Would you take $1 billion to be second most content? I'd be second most.
That's a fair point.
I think I'm going to take the $1 billion because, one, I'm able to do things now that I probably won't be able to do unless I become a billionaire or a multi-millionaire.
But see, that's the conflict, because if you choose my option, you didn't want to do that to begin with.
Not that you didn't want to, you just don't care if you do or do not. You're content in where you are. Doesn't mean if this very content person doesn't mean he's not going to enjoy Greece.
We're not talking about complacent.
No, he's content. He's a happy man.
I'm as happy as I can be.
He's good.
Okay,
but it doesn't mean the person's not going to enjoy Greece.
I don't agree with that.
It won't elevate his life.
Okay,
but he'll still enjoy it.
Fair enough.
So there's things that I'll be able to do.
But you can't not do those as a content person.
You can do them. But you might have enough money to do the things that I'm able to do.
Well, we're never saying anything about money.
Because we did. It's $1 billion.
No. But you never say anything about the money that I have. I'm killing it.
Okay.
Because I'm a hardworking son of a bitch.
but here's the thing. Why are you hardworking? You have no ambition. You're content.
Well, see, now I think you're bordering into complacency. Because being content, like you look at a guy like Ray Dalio, great example right now. Absolute gazillionaire. He's got $1 bazillion in the bank. And he's out there writing books. He's on TikTok now. He's teaching lessons, trying to help people, thrive. Does that mean he's not content? If you're saying, because I think what you're kind of saying is complacency, like you wouldn't work.
According to the definition of content, there's 3 different ways to use it: an adjective, verb, and noun. And the adjective version is a state of peaceful happiness.
Okay.
The verb is to satisfy.
Okay.
And the noun is a state of satisfaction.
Okay.
So if you are satisfied, why would you be ambitious?
I mean, this is interesting because now you're kind of like saying, you're almost saying like being content is like being like reaching enlightenment as a Buddhist monk, where you are present in every moment. You are complete. There's a complete absence of want.
We're talking about Buddhist monks.
But isn't that what we're
talking
saying?
About regular Joe, he's completely satisfied in his life. Why is that man striving for more?
Because he likes to help people.
Okay, so is he just getting the money and giving it to everyone else?
What do you mean?
Well, I'm saying a state of satisfaction. If you're completely satisfied in your life,
yeah.
Is there a need, or is there a part in there to have ambition? Part of ambition is wanting more.
Okay, so then look at Ray Dalio, who's clearly on a philanthropic mission.
Yeah, I don't think he's content.
So you're saying you can't go out and help people. I mean, this sounds weird, but you're saying like on theory, you can't like go serve the people.
That'd be fine, but I'm saying Ray Dalio did not get to.
No, I understand that.
Content,
but he's like,
he was inherently not content.
No, I totally. You're never going to get like that if you are a content person. Yes. But like I'm thinking like, okay, like I'm content like financially, like my needs are met,
completely,
right?
Completely in total.
Completely in total. So that's why I'm going to the Buddhist monk thing, where it's like you're just completely present. You have a complete absence of want in your life.
Exactly.
And like that's you don't worry about anything.
You're good.
So but I don't think that's not an average Joe to me. Then I want the billion.
Okay, I'm just saying you're you. You don't want anything anywhere else. You're good. I'm perfect in my life. I love my life. I need nothing else. I want nothing else.
I mean, I borderline feel like that.
I don't think you do. Well, why would you ever? If you just work to make a living?
I mean,
you make enough money right now to be fine for the rest of your life.
I gather that.
So why are you trying to get more?
Because it's fun.
Because you want more money. You want to go do other things. You have want,
but I'm not content.
Exactly.
So, but like the fulcrum for me is. You're kind of saying that I can no longer serve a purpose. Like I don't have a mission. Like I'm playing Fortnite all day.
Okay, so why do you have the mission?
Because I like to help people.
Yeah, because why?
Well, why do I play Fortnite? Because I don't have I'm discontent with my happiness and I want more of it.
You want
so then I'm a Buddhist monk.
There is a reason why you want to help people.
Right.
It makes you feel good.
So why do you?
So you're not content.
So then what? So what do you? What's my life have to be if I'm completely content?
I have no idea.
I can't get a bagel in the morning because I'm already content.
No, that's not true.
Well, no, I am completely content.
You're the most content person in the world. I don't think you can be the most content person a human has ever lived and also have ambition.
Is ambition the same as?
I don't think there's ever been a person that lived. It's very difficult for me to think there's ever been a person that lived that ever, like, just did things.
Everything is self-serving.
Yeah.
Right. I get that, but so like,
by me. I didn't say any real words there.
But. To me, you're saying here that like I eat all of the basic stuff. I don't want anything. That's living the life of a Buddhist monk, walking around praying, meditation, being present, and I don't enjoy the other parts of life.
Theoretically speaking, it's not that you don't enjoy them. You can still enjoy them.
Okay,
I'm just saying it's not adding to your life.
Okay.
So you can still enjoy certain things.
So I enjoy helping people.
I don't think the only reason you help people, otherwise you wouldn't charge people.
That's not true. Well, that is true in my case, but like, does Ray Dalio doesn't need the money? Why is he charging money for this book?
Probably because he's not completely content.
Is there anybody?
He's not going to lose money.
So, is there anybody out there with a straight philanthropic mission.
No.
So then we got to be a Buddhist monk.
I think that's what we're getting to.
Okay, so then I want the $1 billion.
Okay,
I don't
back to the billion.
Yeah, back to the billion because I don't want to live like a Buddhist monk.
No, neither do I. And again, theoretically speaking, because the Buddhist monks exist, the most content person that's ever lived has to be even above them.
Well, there are actually Buddhist monks. This is crazy. Who like put themselves in like a cage, or I don't know if it was a cage, but they meditated to death. They literally meditated themselves to death, and they're like preserved.
See, it
you
seems
can
a bit
like go
much.
see them.
Seems a bit much.
But I mean, you got to be max content to do that,
Or insane.
wow, yeah, I would likely agree with that.
so-
You serve no purpose if you do that. I don't appreciate that.
No, I mean, human. I think what we are, and this is what goes into a lot of things, and we're not going to dive into this podcast. This is a relaxing podcast.
I'm over to my podcast for this.
But yeah, but like if you want to dive into a bunch of different things, if you talk about humans and all animals have a survival instinct in them.
The
And
reptilian
that's where
brain.
ambition comes from. That's where all these things come from. And you can you can even start getting into that survival instinct into a lot of very politically heavy questions, which again we are not diving into this podcast, but. Contentness is, in my opinion, almost the absence of ambition, and I really enjoy.
Look up ambition. I want to know the definition of ambition. I love ambition too, and I think that drive is absolutely necessity and necessary. It's necessary.
Okay, the ambition definition: noun. A strong desire to do or to achieve something, typically requiring determination and hard work. And there's another second definition, desire and determination to achieve success.
Okay, that's about right.
I mean, yeah,
that falls right.
You're content. Why are you going to do any of these things? There's no point.
Yeah, so you're asking now do you want to be a billionaire or a Buddhist monk?
Yeah.
Now it's going to be a landslide
Yeah,
billionaire.
Because the thing is, and this is what I say, me and you are setting ourselves up for life. We don't retire. And I think on the opposite side of that, the 9-to-5ers, and not all 9-to-5ers are like this, but you have a lot of those people who have been ingrained in the head to save. And you do in that thought process, you talk about ambition to save more and more and more. When you finally get that, I think a lot of people have trouble spending that money because they're not supposed to.
No, I totally agree with that.
So now you for the last 50 years of your life, you've been taught save, and now all of a sudden you get to flip that switch, and now I'm supposed to spend that money.
Yeah.
How the hell am I supposed to do that?
Yeah.
So it's the same concept, but just different ends of the spectrum. Where I think I'm never going to want to stop trying to get more and more and more and more and more and more and more. That's just the type of person I am. And then there's other people that same thing. They want to get more and more and more and more and more, but it's on the save end of the spectrum. I've never been a huge saver. I'm a big, as in my post-baseball career, I'm big on gaining a bunch of money and then putting it into an investment. But, to each their own. But interesting question. And kind of Tony Robbins asked, no?
Yeah, I do think that. I mean, it's definitely brought me down that pathway of, because Tony's real big thing is, like, he wants you to shift from wanting, like, to be somebody or wanting the money to wanting to contribute to society. So it's like you still do the thing. Like, I still run my business, you still run your business, but you, instead of running it to make money, you are running it to, help people get hammered on the weekends.
Well, yeah, that's a lot of those. They say the money just will follow that.
Exactly, you monetize the mission.
You just do your thing, and then the money will come. And theoretically speaking, it would be
whatever, Tony. Yeah, whatever works for you.
Theoretically, though, you're right. Like, if I don't focus on the money at the bars, I focus on the experience of the consumer.
Yeah,
and make it fun, and then the money follows that, obviously. But speaking of never being content, Sorry We're Close is brought to you by my friends over at WinBet.
Speaking of $1 billion.
Yes. If you did have that $1 billion, you should go over to WinBet. WinBet is bringing the excitement of Win Las Vegas to the online sports betting. Speaking of Win Las Vegas, we're going to be out there in July. And I
hear
excited.
we'll be bringing the excitement as well.
I want to go to the sports book. I think they have a fucking sick one. But
I'm going to take some futures bets on the Mountaineers.
Of course you are. Whether you're a recreational player like me and Sean or a serious handicapper, WinBet is your ticket to every exciting wager, from straight bets to parlays, teasers, and any exotic proposition wager you can dream up. Sign up today and use promo code XSWC. That is XSWC. And after placing your first $50 wager, you will receive $200 to bet with. There is also a $10 casino bonus for those in the New Jersey and Michigan if you wager $10 as a first-time player. Again, the promo code is XSWC. There is no better way to enjoy sports with some extra winnings in your pocket to use for all the favorite bets. Betting is a team sport. Join the WinBet team family and bet with the best, a.k.a. me and Sean. Offers subject to change. Terms and conditions at winbet.com. Must be 21 or older to participate. Only available in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, Newark, New Jersey, Tennessee, and Virginia. I'm trying to speed that up.
Yeah, I love you hitting that. It's like it's that was real. I want to hear more about those exotic wagers.
So
is that like betting on the Gatorade at the Super Bowl?
I think that's similar to what it is. A lot of prop bets.
I
saw one today. For the NBA Finals game, whatever it is.
Yeah,
there was a prop bet on the WinBet app about will there be a half court shot. And
interesting.
To determine the half court shot, they have a foot percentage, like how
like
far,
what it determines
feet or something.
What determines?
That's how.
Well, that would be shooting from section 212.
I think it's 47 feet. Does that make sense?
Yeah, a basketball court is 94 feet.
240 feet or beyond.
Here goes Steph Curry up into the nosebleeds.
You make a quarter of 1 cent if you get it correct. But yes. Question of the day brought to you by WinBet. I can't wait to go out to Vegas, to be honest with you. I know I'm going to see Kai go over at the Wynn Casino. In XS, I believe he's playing.
Yeah, you're going to go, but I'll probably just hang back.
Knowing you, probably right. You're probably right. WinBet. I love them. They're going to change their.
No, this is the content they need right here.
WinBet, you got them.
I hope they clip that.
Clip it
and
yeah,
put that on their TikTok.
Okay. Oh yeah, they're coming to TikTok.
It would be great if that became like the thing that everybody stitches, like the what video lives in your head rent free.
WinBet, you got.
You think the rent free video girl gets recognized in public?
I would know her, but
only she'd have to wear like the same thing,
and she'd have to say the things she said.
Be laying sideways on her bed. Wait, hold on. Just going through for me real quick
and say. What video lives rent free in your head? All right, Sean. Moving on, as we always do.
Please, let's move on
to Red Sox Yankees,
which is also brought to you by.
It will be. Red Sox Yankees, folks. Red Sox Yankees. I'll start off. Red Sox.
Here they are. This is the team.
8-2 in their last 10, Sean.
There goes Patrick reading off the freaking the standings again.
Okay, well, what do you want to do there, iPad McGee?
I was about to check
my... iPad away. Tell me what the Yankees are doing.
All right. The Yankees, they won last night. It was a 2-0 game. Garrett Cole pitched as opposed to last week when Cole Hamels was on the mound.
Cole Hamels. But anyway, the Red Sox are 8-2. And the reason I'm going to go over these statistics is for one purpose and one purpose alone. And I will tell you that purpose at the end of this. The Red Sox are 8-2 in the last 10, 33-29 in the year. 4 games above 500 now. They have the second best run differential in the division. I mean, they have played about as good a baseball as you could imagine over the last month and a half. Let's say month. And they won 8-2.
Not as good.
They won 8-2 in their last 10, and in that time period. They lost a game on the Yankees.
I mean, the Yankees are borderline undefeated.
And that was the TikTok that I posted this morning from our podcast last week, was the Yankees are just on another planet, on an absolute another planet.
I mean, they are rolling like you would not believe.
And that's why I wanted to bring up the Red Sox and how good they've been over the last month, and they can't keep up. They just can't keep up with this Yankee team. 45-16, 9-1. They just continue to win.
They're by far the best team in baseball.
Yeah, I mean, the only one that's close is the Mets. And if you we'll talk about the Mets on a look around the league because that division is getting a bit closer than it was. The Mets had a huge lead, and that's coming to a huge halt. But the AL East has honestly, if we even look at the Baltimore Orioles, we got 5 good teams. The Orioles are not great. But I mean, be 27-36 in the toughest division in baseball. you're not that bad. You're just not that bad.
The NL West is that's the only other division they would also be in last place with. Every other one they would not be. They'd be in third in the NL Central. That's just not a great place to be.
No, it's never been a great place to be with the Reds and the Pirates. But this Red Sox club again continues to perform well, and that's really all you can do at this point. You just gotta focus on yourselves, but you can't focus on the Yankees. You almost at this point
they're in a good spot though.
You almost at this point have to just consider the Yankees as the winner of the division. And let's just move on. We're talking about wild cards because right now it's still the Red Sox, Toronto, and Tampa Bay.
They're 9 games up on the second
place team, and a Toronto team who is 11 games over 500.
No,
it's an outrageous year for the New York Yankees right now, and you just have to consider them the winner of the division even this early in the season because there's no point in more. You start worrying about winning the division if at the end of July the Yankees are all of a sudden only 3 games up on the Blue Jays and 4 and 5 on Tampa Bay and Boston, for example. That's when you start thinking, okay, whoa, we might have a chance here. Right now, you just don't even worry about it. You worry about competing at a high level with Tampa Bay and Toronto, and you kind of go from there because Tampa Bay and Toronto are very gettable for the Boston Red Sox. They're only 3.5 behind the Blue Jays. They're only 2.5, I believe, behind the Cardinals covering it. 2.5 behind Tampa Bay. And I would argue that they're playing better baseball than both clubs right now. So, from a Red Sox fan perspective. I was
going to call you on that.
Yeah, from a Red Sox fan, that's what you worry about right now in the AL East. You worry. I said right now. Go and talk about the Yankees.
This mispronunciation was brought to you by WinBet.
We're gonna get so many.
An exotic bet is how many mispronunciations we're gonna have today.
I'm gonna tell WinBet after this. I'm sending an email that we did 15 ad reads in one.
Yeah, we'll
podcast.
take double. We'll take double this month.
All right, Sean, talk about your Yankees.
I mean, you're right. It's like another day at the ballpark. Every time I turn on the TV, I mean, they're winning. I mean, it's the same story, just a different week. Everyone's doing great. I don't really have anything else to add. I think from the Red Sox perspective, it's like don't even worry about the Yankees. We're in a good spot. We're in the race. We're in the hunt. Let's just get to the postseason. And I think from the Yankees perspective, really from just like a guy who's been around sports perspective, I feel like there could be a shift after like the All-Star break, right? Where they get away for a little bit, and it kind of disrupts the momentum.
Let's talk about this.
Okay.
Let's talk about this because again, you're talking about a club that we talk about the same thing over and over every week.
Yeah, I have nothing.
They're
to
good.
Add. Yeah,
they're good.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this. 2 guys who have both been in clubhouses.
Yep.
You've been in a big league clubhouse in spring training.
I've worked a couple big league games.
Yeah. Okay, and then you were also in a whole season with the Lakers. Lakers were terrible, but let's just say both of us have been in big league clubhouses. What inside the clubhouse that fans don't see? Let's give an inside perspective here. What inside clubhouses?
Miranda, get ready because we're going to do some stuff.
Yeah, we're going to need these clips. What inside clubhouses that fans do not see that could deter this Yankee team and start making them competitive with the rest of the league instead of just blowing everyone out of the water right now? What in there what could cause a little bit of a cancer in that clubhouse, other than obviously the obvious of a player that they bring on, let's say at the deadline, and even though I don't know why they give up prospects at this point, but a player that comes on at the deadline that maybe doesn't mesh with the group. But what inside this clubhouse could do that?
I mean, inside the clubhouse, I really don't I think the big thing is always culture. I think the player. And I don't even know that a player necessarily does that. I was on a team. I worked with this is like embarrassing to compare the two, but when I worked with the Kane County Cougars, I know, and it's like the worst name to compare to the Yankees.
Shout out Kane County.
But hey,
congratulations, Matt Tenney.
Matt Tenney, you're
congratulations, Matt Tenney.
Matt Tenney. Everybody go follow. I know he has an Instagram.
Please, is it public?
I doubt it. I doubt it.
He follows you.
I doubt it. I know. Okay, whatever. Good job, Matt Tenney.
Good job.
But I think that I don't even. Here's what I was going to say. The Kane County Cougars. We won like 23 of 25 games that year in a certain stretch, and there's guys on the team that maybe you don't necessarily like that much. They're not the favorite guys.
There's always those guys.
Yeah, there's always a few in there, but I think like the normal course of the season, like things like there's disruptions, like maybe somebody gets hurt, or maybe somebody has a bad game, or maybe you have one of those games where the other team scores 20 runs. Like I think that those things can shake it. I think that the All-Star break is probably the most obvious thing in terms of like what can shake up the momentum of the squad. I think pressure is another one. Like right now, they're at the point of the season where there's no pressure, everything's rolling, everybody's feeling good. What happens when there's a little bit more pressure on the line as they get to the playoffs? Like think about when a team, think about like the entire season. Like that whole team's like, yo, we're making the playoffs, right? Like that's over. So once the Red Sox come to town for the first round of the series, the playoffs, like all of a sudden the vibe is different. There's pressure now, and how do they adjust to that? Because they're probably not gonna see any pressure this year.
No,
in like getting into the playoffs. So I really think that's the thing. In baseball, it's such a relaxed environment. They don't, like, if the team loses, the manager's not coming in and giving a pump up speech or like getting on guys. Like it's such a different experience. It's such a different vibe. And, being around like a fun clubhouse that everybody's enjoying, that people are smiling, people are laughing, everybody's in a really good routine. Those are the things that, you just try to keep going and keep trying to facilitate. If you have a good culture, I think, from my perspective, working with, there sometimes be like some front office people, not really coaches, but like weird, when I worked for the Lakers, there were like some weird influences, like rogue influences from the front office that should not have influence, were like overstepping their boundaries. And it made it awkward and uncomfortable for, like one person would be telling a player to do this and I would be telling a player to do that. And then I have to, like, I'm the strength coach, but this person is clearly ahead of me in the organization. We kind of have to air to that. So, when there's discontent, not everybody's like filling their shoes. I think that's where things can get a little messy. But right now, I think I genuinely think it'll be pressure or like the loss of momentum from an All-Star break that can shift the season.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I look at this Yankee team that could certainly hurt them is the fact that they haven't really had to deal with much adversity yet.
Exactly.
They have a club here.
I think that's a real problem.
Yeah, they don't know how they're going to. They're bound to go on a little bit of a skid. They're bound to.
It would be really strange if they didn't.
Yes, they're bound to. So, in that respect, is how do they bounce back from that? And if there starts to become some type of, if there's a couple guys in that clubhouse, they talk about hitting is contagious, but so is slumping. So, next thing you know, one guy starts getting a slump. Aaron Judge starts getting into a slump. And then now Josh Donaldson feels like, or John Carlos Stanton feels like they have to do more. Mm-hmm. And now they start doing out of their comfort zone. They get into a slump, and so on and so forth. If they can just stay true to themselves, then they'll be okay. But we're talking about a club that has performed well in years past and has not been able to put it together once the playoffs come together. Now you can talk about that one year where they think the Astros were cheating. Well, they definitely were cheating, but not thinking, but that they might have been in the World Series that year. But I think when the thing that could hurt this team inside this clubhouse is what you won't see from a fan perspective is panic in some of these big guys' minds when they do go into this probably inevitable slump. If there is that ounce of panic, if there's a coach, and I talk about a coach that I had in AAA where I had a little bit of panic in my head, this coach decided to talk about it a bunch, and that panic got bigger. If there's a coach over there that makes a bigger deal out of small things, right, that he hasn't had to yet, but then maybe someone goes into a slump and he does, and that breeds a little bit of, that brings down Aaron Judge from a 300 hitter with 60 bombs to a 275 hitter with 45 bombs.
Yeah,
that's a huge drop in run production. So I think those are the things you not might see, but if this team were to do that, instead of just saying, "Oh, well, they're not quite performing as well on the field," that this actually could be starting in the clubhouse.
Well, I think that's where it'll spiral out. I remember when I was working for the famed Kane County Cougars, and we won like literally 20 games in a row. I remember the game we lost. We were playing up in Wisconsin. God, I can't remember the Timber Rattlers, Wisconsin Timber Rattlers, and and they we lost the game, and our hitting coach comes back into the locker room, and everyone's just doing what they do after the game. It's a long season, whatever. We lost, and he's like, "Put your phones away." This is we just lost this game, and I remember everybody was like, "Yo, we just won 20 games in a row. Like, shut up." And then like for sure when he's like, it's like when he's giving you instruction tomorrow, you're just looking at him like, dude, shut up.
You don't trust his judgment anymore.
Yeah, and you're like, this guy, like, this is not my guy anymore. So definitely how people respond to adversity and the challenges is, and I think it would be almost beneficial for them to go through, a 10, 15 game slide where it's like they go, 3-7 or something like that, and a couple times that's probably not even enough.
No.
Where because like when the playoffs come around, like they'll face that, and that's a different feeling. And then if you're really pressing, I think like if you look at an Aaron Judge thing, like if he goes into a slump and then he starts thinking about his contract, and it I think that's an issue. When I worked for the Lakers, if you watch First Take, every single day they find a way to talk about the Lakers. Somehow, some way, they're going to find a way to talk about the Lakers. And First Take's on in the weight room. And our guys are in there, and they're crushing D'Angelo Russell, and D'Angelo Russell is right here. And I remember thinking in my head, like, this isn't good. Like, how do we rectify the situation? And if they got MLB Network on, which
they always do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know in the big leagues, but in the minors, we always had that on, and they're talking about Aaron Judge, and Aaron Judge is going through a slide, that's like unimaginable at this point.
Yes.
But like, I think that those little seeds can certainly fester, and that's where you got to have a good culture and a good staff, a good team in place to pick them up and rally. Veteran presence, which they have good vets.
Solid veteran presence,
and their vets have been around. Their vets have experience.
Even Aaron Judge has been around.
Yeah, he has.
So you talk about that stuff, and again, that's something that guys don't necessarily know. Is when we're in the clubhouse, TVs are on, and we're watching. There's an old thought.
And they're going through Twitter. I mean, how many NBA guys are I've seen NBA guys searching their name on Twitter.
Yes, they're humans.
Yes.
At the end of the day, they're humans.
Checking their phones at half times and stuff.
Okay. But it's just, it is what it is. And this is how these things happen. And when you talk about the social media era, you talk about how these sports shows that have to fill airtime. You're going to see these things. You're going to see that these certain clubs, like I remember watching myself on the Not Top 10. That didn't feel great, So it's just, these are the types of things, these small things that people don't realize that are happening in clubhouses that could change the culture, could change what's going on if you don't have the right people from the neck up. If you don't have the right mindset from the neck up to be able to produce here and do what, I mean, they're on pace to win 120 games. That's a ton of games. Yeah. And again, this club is very good. So I expect them to not have to worry too much about it. But if there was something that could do it, it's something like that.
But it is. I remember when I was in college. When I went to Quinnipiac, another very fair comparison to the Yankees. But my senior year, we made it to the NEC championship game against Robert Morris to go to the NCAA tournament. It was at home. It was at Quinnipiac, and when I got to the arena normal time, and normally we get like 1,000 people to show up to these games, it was 4,000 seat arena, so it was never very full. For this game, I got there normal time, and it was complete. It was a sea of gold. All the Bobcat fans were out for the only time ever, and it was like electric the moment I walked in, and people were like waving the towels, they're screaming and stuff, and our guys were already out on the court shooting before the game, which was so out of character. And it was like they were for sure like just trying to like soak up the environment. And I remember walking into the gym saying, "This probably not good. Like we're completely like changed due to the environment." And we did end up losing that game. I thought we were the better team. We held in there, but we lost. And it's like that moment to me was always like something like we altered. And it's a completely different environment. It's a completely different game. And in playoff baseball, everybody knows playoff baseball is different. And I think when you get there, I think that they got the rally towels going. It's a different animal. It's not the Midsummer Nights anymore.
No. And I remember a few years back, Aaron Judge playing New York in like a boombox on the way out of Fenway Park after beating the Red Sox, and the Red Sox went on to sweep him afterwards.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, That doesn't sound like Aaron Judge. That does. I mean, although his character might be different in
So true.
but as a player, that doesn't sound like him. You know, a guy that we've seen come in an extraordinary professional manner. Now all of a sudden he's doing that, and now the Red Sox go on to sweep this team. You know, do you change in the playoffs? You can't do that. But look around the league now. We've touched on what could happen to this Yankee team. I don't think either of us envision something happening to this Yankee team, not yet at least. But I am still cautious about them in the playoffs because they have yet to show that they can produce that.
I agree.
But look around the league. We just talked about the rest of the AL before we move on to the NL. AL Central, Minnesota continues to take control of that division, although they're only 2.5 games up. But Cleveland, I believe, has now jumped the White Sox. I don't know if they had that last week, but the White Sox have quite a bit of turmoil over there. No one knows what's going on. We got Lance Lynn yelling at a bench coach about shifting. It just seems like disarray, dysfunction. I don't see the White Sox doing all that much this year.
They're trying to get La Russa out.
Yeah, they just don't seem like a great club right now. And then the AL West, Houston still holds an 8.5 game lead on the Texas Rangers as well, which I theoretically didn't really see, although they did make some good moves to make their team better. But they're below 500. The only team above 500 in that division is Houston, as well in comparative to the AL East, which is 4 of the 5 teams are above 500. So a weak division at that. And the Angels, who knows if they've turned it around? Doesn't seem like it. But they had lost 13 in a row. They ended up breaking that streak on the final game against my Red Sox. They've been 2-8 over the last 10, lost 2 in a row again. Not much to talk about there.
Great strength department, though.
We will, I'm gonna go from top bottom here. You care the strength department. NL West. Although the San Diego Padres have more wins than the Los Angeles Dodgers, they have also more losses. So they are even at the top. Although the Dodgers have a better winning percentage, so they have the nod at this moment. San Francisco, another great team. Arizona playing and Colorado playing tough division. I don't know that it's just as good a division as the AL East, but certainly in the
AL East is a runaway.
But I think it's certainly in the conversation. You have 3 teams that have 35 plus wins. All 3 of them are very good, but when you talk about the Arizona and Cardinals, Arizona and the Colorado probably not as good. The NL Central, one of probably the weakest division, maybe along with the AL West and the AL Central. St. Louis, 2.5 game lead over Milwaukee, and Pittsburgh, Chicago, and Cincinnati have no chance. They're not good clubs. And then finally, the NL East, which is becoming an interesting division. The Mets were similar to the Bronx Bombers in absolutely taking the division, and now the Atlanta Braves are on a 13-game winning streak. They have closed the gap.
Wow.
They are 5 games back now, 36-27. The Philadelphia Phillies, 8-2 since their last 10 after firing Joe Girardi.
That's always interesting to me.
It is always interesting to me as well. It shows that maybe they have a
Ding
little fun
dong, the
now.
witch is gone.
And most people love the bench coach more than the
So
manager.
true. That's everybody rallies behind the Old Faithful.
Old Faithful, because he'd be more fun. It doesn't be anything.
Yeah.
Miami and Washington probably not going to compete this year. But interestingly enough, Philadelphia was in the doldrums and now has catapulted themselves to 3rd place, 9.5 back. Still have a lot of work to do, but Atlanta putting the pressure on Queens, the New York Mets. I'm interested, similar to what we just talked about the Yankees, to see how the Mets handle this. They haven't had much pressure all year. And now you talk about the classic Mets crumble. Can they handle this pressure? Can they continue to win ball games? They're 6-4 in their last 10 on a 2-game win streak, but can they handle this type of pressure with a realistic opponent behind them?
Hot take. No, they can't.
It's certainly, I don't even know if that's a hot take because the Mets have historically not done that. But certainly,
the Braves are a good team, man.
Yeah, I mean,
Let's see if they have a game.
They won the World Series last year.
A series coming.
They did lose Freddie Freeman, but it's a good club. It's a really, really good club. But I can tell you, do they have anything coming up?
They don't. They play the Braves next on 7-11.
I think all divisions are pretty much playing each other in July. It's seemingly what I know. The AL East is doing that, and typically that means everyone's pretty much doing that.
Yeah.
So
we got a Subway series. We got a Subway series in July. A 2-gamer.
Wow, that's exciting.
That is exciting.
Speaking of exciting, WynnBET is bringing the excitement of Wynn Las Vegas to online sports betting and casino play. Getting all your favorite teams, players, and sports from boosted parlays to live in-game odds on every major sport. And they have what you need to win. Sign up today and use promo code XSWC. I correct myself, XSWC. SWC stands for sorry, we're closed. And after placing your first $50 wager, you will receive $200 to bet with. There is also a $10 casino bonus for those in New Jersey and Michigan if you wager $10 as a first-time player. Again, promo code is XSWC. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions at wynnbet.com. Must be 21 or older to participate. Only available in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New York, New Jersey, Tennessee, and Virginia. I'm actually pretty good at that.
You're slamming that fine print at the end.
Slamming the fine print. But that's your look around the league. Let's take a look around other components of sports. I haven't got a nice name for this segment yet. But we're going to stay in baseball for the first part. We're going to end in basketball. The first fun part I want to talk about, Miranda, bring up the Cubs Twitter. Cubs Twitter has not much to talk about, so they decided to go after their own people that are talking back at them. And Cubs Twitter, I'm going to bring it up on my page here because I tweeted about it, and I just said with a simple quote, "What is going on in Chicago?" Many responses talking about complete disarray. I will talk about it now. The Chicago Cubs responded to something. I only have a screenshot here. But the Chicago Cubs responded to something saying, "I expect your tears all over the timeline in a few hours." Fishy at Colin Douglas 10 responded, "Screenshotted for later." I assume he thinks that it will be deleted. The Cubs respond, "Good job. I'm sure you'll get 1 retweet and 3 likes and give yourself a nice pat on the back." Fishy responds, "You're literally 23 and 37. Stop laughing my ass off." Cubs, come on back. "You're a teenager on the internet tweeting at a baseball team Twitter account." And that's the end of the screenshot. So that's all I have for you. But Cubs Twitter apparently has let loose.
Oh, this is becoming a theme.
I don't know. I just saw this screenshot, and it seems like everyone's talking about it right now. Cubs kind of going off the rails. They think maybe they hired some new social media interns and they decided to go rogue.
Hired Dave Portnoy to run their Twitter.
So Cubs Twitter, again, not much to talk about, but Cubs are now being talked about.
I know, it's interesting. Isn't it Wendy's, who is like also just a savage Twitter?
I don't know if they still do it, but years ago they really let him
just
do it,
like
which was
hammer
so
people.
fucking funny.
I know,
loved
it is.
It.
It is funny.
I mean, making fun of a teenager seems like maybe a little below the belt. It's one thing to go after people and give like clever responses. This seems like you're a loser trying to, and you're giving terrible comebacks. You're not witty at all.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting. Like it's almost like we think that the manager or the general manager is the guy running the Twitter. It's absolutely not. It's just like a guy or a girl who just like has a job.
Yep.
And they're just sitting there with. I remember the guys who ran like the Lakers accounts on their phone. It's like literally a guy on their phone posting to the Lakers Twitter, and I'm just like somebody who has nothing to do with the ops or anything like that, and it's just like that's such a fascinating dynamic to me that there's like just a guy in a cubicle fighting with a teenager on the internet.
Seriously, it's interesting, and we've all seen. We've heard of GMs, we've heard of owners having burner accounts.
Mm-hmm.
I actually just saw people thinking that I have one on Reddit, which my account on Reddit is Pat Light. So
is Reddit sweet?
I don't know.
Some people really like it.
Use it, but for some reason there's notifications on my phone about it, so I got to turn those off. Okay. But anyway, we've all seen the burner accounts. This is clearly not a burner account.
No, they're full
and they're going full send. So I mean, it's certainly worth keeping an eye on if the Cubs have decided, hey, listen, let loose.
I know. It's like it feels like a very like more modern team thing. Like the old school teams like should stick to like the classic baseball. I don't know. What would be a team that would fit for? Like a newer expansion team or something.
If you're you're saying going crazy on Twitter?
Yeah, just to be like just going savage. Does any team have that like mentality?
I don't know. Maybe I feel like I don't even know a newer team that would do something.
The new teams are like the Diamondbacks.
I feel like the Milwaukee Brewers have a solid social presence.
Yeah.
I I don't know who would go after people though.
I mean, it's not traditional of anybody.
Not traditional.
No.
Not traditional. But certainly interesting. The Cubs not having a good season and have turned to social media to make them noteworthy on podcasts like ours.
Either that or somebody is
About to get fired.
yeah. Looking for a job.
Could be both. Say, hey, listen, we told you to have a little fun. Don't go this crazy. And the other look that I want to end in on baseball, and in basketball, as far as a look around other sports. Have you seen the fake Klay Thompson?
Oh my God! Yes, I did. So I briefly saw this on Twitter this morning. All I saw was that he was banned for life from Chase Center. Apparently, he just walked past security.
I watched the video
and shot around on the court.
Yes.
What kind of jumper do you have?
So they only showed like 3 shots. They were all swishes. It was clearly not Klay Thompson shooting. Like he's not.
He swished 3 shots.
Yeah.
Was it like
Who knows how long he's out there?
Was it like an athletic looking jumper?
It was good enough.
Okay.
It was good enough. Yeah.
I knew he's kind of a little chubby, right?
Yeah. The thing here that we need to talk about, and this is what we need to talk about as far as the security staff.
Okay.
He showed up in full uni. Unless I am unaware of something, I don't believe Klay Thompson has probably ever showed up to the arena full uni.
So let me give you a little insight. It's probably very, very similar, but what it's like walking into an NBA arena through like the team entrance. So at every single arena, there is a guy or a lady just stationed there at like a little folding table. Mm-hmm. And they have a little basket. You go through a metal detector and you go in. And the entrances are like remote. It's hard to find. A lot of them are underneath the arena. In Dallas, actually, the Dallas arena, the entrance into the arena is like a couple blocks away, and it goes like underground under a couple streets and in. So you'd never know it was there. So like just getting there, is. Like it's you give like off the sense.
Check.
Yeah, you give off the sense that like who else would be walking through this, right? And it's truly one of those things where it's just like, yep, I freaking belong here. And what I used to do, I never really did this on purpose. In baseball, you don't wear your apparel outside of the stadium, right? Because they're called billboarding, you're showing off whatever. Basketball's not like that. You wear your sweatsuits all over the place, right? But I just come from baseball, so it was a little uncomfortable for me to do that. So at a lot of these places, I was walking in without any Lakers garb. I was well before the team, so I wasn't with all the players. So I'd just be walking in, and after 10 games or so, I started to think like, I don't show any. I never show my credential to get in. I have one, but I never show it. And I would even walk onto the court wearing like Nike, like not even a Lakers shirt, and nobody ever stopped me. I just walked on. Only one place did I get stopped walking onto the court, and I was in San Antonio. But it is just really like it is weird that he showed up in full uniform, but it is stunning how many places you can get in life just by acting like you own it. There was a guy a couple years ago, I think, who just walked in the team entrance to the games and he like went to the games and he like documented it on Twitter or something. He didn't go shoot around. I think he deserves to get banned for shooting around.
The thing is, and this, if I am a GM or an owner of the club, I think it's pretty cool.
I want to lean into it, but I'm a little concerned about the security.
Well, and a little too concerned about the security, and you have to do something drastic so other people don't start trying.
Yeah, especially like fake Klay Thompson. He's kind of popular.
Yeah,
and you almost kind of want to lean into that, but you have to address the security.
You have to address the security, and you have to address the guy who did it, because you can't if you lean into it as the Golden State Warriors, you're almost promoting people to do it. Same thing as running onto the field. I just saw a guy run onto the field out in Philadelphia, and you saw the cops smiling, but he arrested him.
Yeah,
but you saw them smiling like, all right, buddy, you got it. All right, cool. You see him smiling and enjoying it, but you got to put him in jail.
Yeah,
because you're promoting now people to do it.
Yeah,
and if it's just okay, hey, come on, get off the field. Lots of people are going to start doing it, and you don't want that. You want repercussions for that exact reason. I can tell you another story about me going into Minnesota. We were going on a road trip, and I walked to the field. Obviously, in baseball, I'm sure in basketball they had gated parking lots, and now that's the players' entrance through the gated parking lot where fans can't get in. I was staying in a hotel 2 blocks away, so I would walk. So I had my luggage with me because we're going on a road trip after the game, and I had my luggage with me, and I would walk through the concourse. I'm there 7 hours before the game.
Sure.
But I'm walking through the concourse, and I get to the guy, old man, very, very nice, just doing his job. And he goes, "Hey, listen, you gotta walk through, go through the metal detector." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, I'll go through the metal detector." And I was like, "Do you want stuff out of my pockets?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "All right." So I started taking my stuff out of my pockets, and I have my luggage, and he goes, I go through whatever, I'm fine, and he's like, "You're gonna have to open that suitcase and get stuff out of it." And I'm a nice man. Even me was like, "No, I'm sorry, man. That's just it." And my whole life,
like you're at that point, you're like, this guy knows.
he doesn't know I'm a player.
Yeah.
And although I'm showing a player card here,
Yeah.
he is not trained to see that card
Right.
because the people down there are.
Right.
Players go through the concourse.
Right.
And so luckily, someone had come by right at that moment when I was doing it, and they were like, "Oh no, he plays. You let him in." And so he did. Again, he was just doing his job. But at Minnesota, great security. An actual player gets stopped. So the moral of the story is, yes, you can do a lot of things if you just act like you know what you're doing. If you don't question things, you don't look around, you don't ask questions.
Yeah.
And you can get away with a lot. Fake Klay Thompson.
I've done.
Got to shoot around for Game 3 of the NBA Finals.
I remember when I was at Quinnipiac, and like during like regular days, I'd go to the arena, get some shots up, go to practice, whatever. And the people that would be around the arena, like the staff and stuff, they're like janitors, they're working on stuff, they're like outside contractors doing stuff. And like whenever I go to, like, I was just at Vanderbilt and I wanted to go in their football field, and you see all these like people milling around, and then I was like, it's those people. They don't work here. They have no authority, and so I just walk in and go onto the field. I did that at Alabama. I did that at Notre Dame. I did, anywhere I go, I always do that. But it's kind of the same thing where it's like, I mean, yeah, they work here, but like they don't know who you are, and they don't want to. You're walking in like you own the place. You're in full uniform. They think that's weird, but maybe you're quirky.
Quirky guy.
I tell you what, Klay Thompson looks a lot more fit on TV.
Oh my goodness, yeah. It's interesting, and again, if you act like you own the place, you can do a lot of damage in a lot of places.
Oh, you really can.
Which is, when you talk about security, a little concerning.
I do. Opie loves when I do this. When I just walk into restaurants or hotels like I own the place and just go to the bathroom.
Oh God, just follow the rules.
That's fine.
Private bathrooms. Sorry. Anyway.
I have nothing to say after that.
Anyway, I mean, we don't need to dive into the private bathrooms. But that's it. That's all we got today. Question of the day. We're going back to the question of the day. We will, however, we will be making some picks on the podcast. And we will be diving into how poor we are at gambling, probably. I guarantee we're going to get roasted for some of our picks. So I just want to take the Red Sox money line every night. Seems valid. We're pretty good.
I think the Yankees will always win.
That's probably a good one too. They don't win much money, but yeah. Anywho, question of the day. That's where I was going to. I'm getting phone calls right now. Question of the day. We had. Let's refresh. We had 94 votes with 5 minutes left. 58.5%, Sean, taking $1 billion. 58.5% taking $1 billion. 41.5% taking being the most content human being that has ever lived. I think a lot of people are going to resonate with both of our, although it took us a while to get there. I think both of you people are going to resonate with what we said, that you don't need to be the most content. Having $1 billion, you can do a lot of things.
The comments are pretty smart. I think they have good thought process here.
Okay, well, Drew G says one can definitely become content while also having $1 billion. I think that's intelligent. Mora said billion. Contentment leads to complacency. You can do a lot of charity work with $1 billion, certainly. And then Richard Kalugna Jr., who is a frequent responder to the question of the day, got to go with content. He's the only one in the group.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I think Moira is onto it there with like the contentment versus complacency deal. Like I think that's really the, I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, as do I. Oh, well, there you go. Question of the day. Question of the day, once again, brought to you by WinBet. Betting is a team sport. Join the WinBet team. Myself and my brother are a part of that club, and bet with the best. I don't know if we're the best, but they've got your ticket to every straight bet, parlay, teaser, and props wagers, all the right fingertips. The WinBet app is easy to use, so play with the most trusted brand in the industry. Sign up today and use promo code XSWC. And after placing your first $50 wager, you'll receive $200 to bet with. There is another $10 casino bonus for those in New Jersey and Michigan. Again, the promo code is XSWC. Offer subject to change. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions at winbet.com. Must be 20 or older to participate. Only available in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New York, New Jersey, Tennessee, Virginia. I did not speed that up in podcast format. I actually talked that fast. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining us. Question of the day. Another episode of Sorry We're Closed. And until next time, gamble with WinBet.
Yes.
Sorry, we're closed.